What did you guys think of last night's episode, Real Housewives of New Jersey, season 13, episode 8?
Housewives of New Jersey that aired last night. By the way, I'm doing a live at 11 a.m. EST on Housewife Historian's YouTube channel. I'll be recording it too. It won't be as good from my recording standpoint, but I will have a recording of it and I will put that on my channel afterwards. Okay, so Housewife Historian got some cease and desist this last week from, I don't know yet who. I think it's Melissa's legal camp, but I'm interested in getting the details surrounding that on this live. I have some gossip surrounding what may have started all this stuff, which she isn't aware of. So we're going to discuss it and try to get to the bottom of all of it, comparing the notes. The notes. All right. And let's see, what else are we doing today? Oh, we're doing a recap. Let's go ahead and get started and do some gossip dropping, etc. All right. So first of all, last night's episode really surrounded everybody still at the Jersey Shore, the different groups of people staying at different houses coming together. Anyway, we end up having a gathering that occurs. Danielle storms out of this pool party from the night before because everyone is bringing up her name regarding her relationship with her brother and her not telling the full truth, the whole truth. They believe that there's more to it than what she's letting on. I'm going to talk to Housewife Historian about that too, because she knows a bit about this. And I, by the way, if you haven't watched last week's recap, some of that's on last week's recap. So on my channel, so check it out. Okay. So Danielle's upset about this. The women are trying to get her to tell the truth. She's firmly in Jennifer Aydin and Teresa's camp at this point. Then we've got Rachel Fuda. She's stirring the pot sort of by like just talking to everybody and calling out everybody on what they're saying about each other. And Danielle is starting to get aggravated with Fuda. She turns on her in this episode because she's recognizing that Rachel is telling everyone what's being said, and Danielle seems to be getting blamed for it. Now, the big hoopla here is that there is supposedly some energy brewing at the pool party that's causing Teresa and Louis to be, strained over Joe Gorga's mom being invited to the wedding. And so what we're seeing is that Teresa not allowing Joe Gorga's mom to come to the wedding and causing all this tension between Giudice and Ruelas and Gorga is making Louis upset. And so it's causing tension in their relationship. And also the Gorgas are really checked out. They just think it's all nonsense at this point. Teresa's like, you should have called me directly. He's like, I did call you directly and you didn't do anything about it. And so why would I call you again? And he's like, this is all nonsense, what you're saying on camera. And besides that, she's like, well, you just want press. So you're doing this for exposure. That's why. And she brings up that he likes to make a mountain out of a molehill. But of course, Teresa doesn't know how to say molehill because she doesn't say anything properly. That's just her shtick. Shocking Jackie stands up in a way for Jennifer Aydin and says, look, she's dealing with some problems at home. Their relationship isn't that great. And, I feel for her for this. And the other women are sort of like, whatever, we didn't know. Okay, but we're not seeing it really manifest. Jennifer Aydin and her husband seem to be pretty tight at this, they're showing a united front at least to everybody. Okay, meanwhile, Paulie is still recovering from surgery, so Dolores is worried about him and his heart issue. He's still, sick. Frank, she's not having any of his nonsense or BS. So then we move on, and I'm going to get to the basis of the real juicy part of the episode now that we got the nonsense out of the way. Everybody is really hungover on this week's episode. They're really dragging through the party. They're doing their best to be on camera, but you can tell, people are tired. They probably don't feel good from drinking. All that is happening. All right, so now that I've done that, let's get to the core of this episode, and then I'm going to give you a quick heads up on the cease and desist drama that happened with a few of the influencers this week. Not all of the ones that everybody thought, but a few of them. We begin with Pizzagate. What is Pizzagate? Well, I'm going to tell you. Okay, so listen to this sound bite from last night's episode so you can hear the story.
I've kept my mouth shut like a lot all these years, protecting my brother, keep the peace, and I'm like so tired of it. I'm gonna speak the truth. I'll be honest with you. There was a business dealing, and my fiance lost $250,000. My brother came up with this idea, this pizza oven. Like, I want to do it with my sister. So it was like, okay. Like, he put out $250K. Then I said no, because I don't think you should get involved with business stuff. But then he spoke to our attorney, and he's like, well, what percentage should I give Joey? I guess they came up with, 5%. So my brother went nuts. Like, he wanted 50%. So then here's Louis trying so hard coming into our family. So did you talk about it?
No, because I don't work well when people deflect conversation.
And then I called my brother. I'm like, he put out all the money. I'm like, what are you doing? All I said to my brother, if you want half, you need to put half in. And he didn't want to. And then Louis took the loss. He's like, all right, babe, like, we're not doing it.
Just get too far where you just give up. You just give up. That's why I was so upset this past year.
He kind of was like the knight in shining armor that like swooped in. What? I know.
Speak, Joseph. This is your sir.
Why are you going to talk about it?
I never want to talk about it because I don't want to bury my sister. But if she's talking about it, I can't lie here.
Louis screwed me, right?
With the pizza business,
And she jumped ship and went on his side.
I told him it's my idea. It's me and my sister, and we'll honor my father. We'll call it Nono's Pizza. He loved it. My nephew got him involved. We ordered these ovens. Louis puts the money out. He right away, I got it. Now I'm figuring I'm giving 50% to my sister, and he was getting 50%. And then my nephew comes over to my house. He goes, oh, the boxes are ordered. I go, what boxes? Oh, he goes, your sister had a photo shoot with her and her girls, and they called it Skinny Pizza or something like that.
And you weren't in that picture. You didn't do anything. It was something between me and Louis. Screwed me in a second, right?
When I find out, I call him. And then Louis starts giving me some lip.
You come across like you do all this therapy. Man up. Or be that person you say you're going to be.
And then my sister out of nowhere goes, did you put the money up? I go, what? I think I couldn't put 200,000 up. I go, it was my idea.
I think she's so selfish that she doesn't want to share. That's what it comes down to.
And it became very ugly, yelling. And my sister was saying, this is why you don't do business with family. Bullshit. You can do business with anyone if you go in with the trust and you're not looking to cheat somebody. I don't want this.
So what do I think about this Pizzagate business deal? I think that it's highly unusual that Joe Gorga and Louis Ruelas didn't do a contract before Louis Ruelas gave the money. That's very strange to me that they didn't iron it out beforehand. Now that said, there's a few agendas I could imagine could be occurring in this. Number one, Joe Gorga was like, well, now that I've got the money, like accepted the money and thought that that would give him a position of power in negotiating about the idea of the pizza place. And so he thought he was being clever by taking the money because then in the negotiation, he would have all the power. But he didn't know he was dealing with Louis Ruelas. Why would Louis Ruelas give the $250 without a contract and not be worried about it? Well, because ultimately Louis Ruelas may have been afraid that he wouldn't get the deal he wanted if he did that, if he was negotiating up front. And this way he'd have a claim against the business, which would give him power. And if it didn't work out, then he could sue Joe Gorga for the $250,000 he gave him and basically take control of the pizza joint anyway by causing a lawsuit to happen regarding it or make Joe Gorga give him the money back, right? So in that position, that was where he was coming from. Now, Joe Gorga said that it isn't a lot of money to him. So I would imagine that he gave the money back or is going to give the money back, but they leave that open-ended in the episode. We don't know. Teresa makes it sound like Louis Ruelas gave the money and never got the money back. The feud comes down to ownership. Joe believed he deserved 50% and Louis Ruelas believed that he deserved 5%. Joe Gorga believes that he's worth 50%. He's not saying it on the show, but he's saying it because he believes that Melissa Gorga being a part of it, him being a part of it, and their brand being a part of it combined with Teresa is worth something. And Louis doesn't have a brand yet, but I'm sure he's well working on it, right? How to monetize Housewives. But the thing is that I think Joe underestimated when you're doing an investment, the power of putting money into the investment. It always gives you the majority of shares. Bringing your skin in the game and your brand and all that has a value, but that value is kind of theoretical. So thus the importance of having an attorney negotiate that for you up front so that you know, like, there's a clear monetization to your brand, right? I'm worth, for being Joe Gorga and Melissa Gorga and promoting it on all of our stuff, this pizza joint, I'm worth $250,000. Teresa doing it is worth $500,000 and your $250,000 is worth $250,000. And between all of those things, we're going to give you a little more weight on your $250,000 because it's actually straight up cash. And we're going to all be like, partners, equal. But he didn't take that position. So, and they didn't negotiate properly. So anyway, they're just terrible business people is what I'm gathering from all this. And Louis Ruelas is booby-trapped his $250,000. That's the bottom line. Because he's going to use it to his advantage either way. He's either going to sue Joe Gorga for the money and Joe isn't going to pay and everybody's going to think that Joe's broke and the fans are going to turn on Joe as doing a shady business deal and he should know better. Or he's going to just get his money back and who cares at that point? And he'll do something to compete with them, with another pizza joint named, after the grandmother instead of the father and put Teresa on the pizza boxes. Like, this is a no-brainer. Like, the mistake was made up front. You never do any kind of business idea. You never tell anyone your business idea. You don't do anything until you're well protected. You do everything through attorneys. You do everything up front. If a deal's going to blow, you want it to blow in the beginning, not in the middle and not at the end. Purge it. Unless you're being sneaky. Then there is a tactic that they say, which is get people in bed with you, get them excited, get them in love with the idea. And when they're in good and deep, then pull the deal because they'll freak out and they'll try to save it and then they'll agree to anything, which is maybe what Louis was also trying to do. That's a tactic. So we'll see. All right, let's move on to the next thing that happened.
I think I should probably tell you guys, I used to do product placement in movies. If you didn't know, I also owned an ad agency for like 20 years. And basically, I did tons and tons of these deals. I even represented celebrities on endorsement deals, big ones, A-listers. Hayden Christensen was one of them, but I did many, many others. So I do have some insight into this, and I didn't want you to think I just was talking
So the idea here is now we know why Joe and Louis Ruelas are no longer going to really be able to be friends. They're completely estranged from each other. They've now had a business deal go bad. And Joe and Melissa are not, at the moment they're going to the wedding, but they're not in the wedding and their family isn't invited and they're pissed about it. And they feel like Teresa's being a terrible matriarch to the family. And Teresa's like, you're not communicating with me, you should. And so anyway, now we're going to hear a little soundbite of the fight that plays out on last night's episode. What I really want you to pay attention to is the way that Louis talks to Teresa.
Nobody else is talking about all this.
There's no problem.
No, they said there is, that you're upset about something.
Well, I was upset that you said you had issues with my mom or something.
I said there's a history there with your family.
Teresa, you're coming over here and ruining a moment of me and Melissa.
Okay,
I really do respect our space.
But Jackie,
No, but I don't care if God came down and said something to you.
But
It's
my
not fair.
point was, I wasn't going to invite just one
I'm
person.
sorry. You're not making any sense what you're saying. Teresa, it doesn't matter what anybody's saying. You need to respect that I'm here talking to your sister-in-law.
There completely is two sides to Louis. I know he definitely wants to look like, hey, I'm the good guy in this, I'm gonna fix it. But then he can't control when he's angry. Sometimes I think like it's the guy he wants to be, but then there's the guy he really is.
Can you please. I'm sorry.
That's okay. I'm like always.
Like I don't want that going on. That's bull.
What are you guys talking about?
Sit down, sit down.
What are you guys doing?
Just bear with me, okay?
Well, you can't hide who you are for very long. Never works. Just a matter of time, really. Smoke and mirrors. Now, here's where Bravo loses me totally. We've been told that there's this big wedge between Joe and Louis Verwellis over this pizza deal gone bad. But we end up finding ourselves listening to Melissa and Joe still lamenting about their parents going to the wedding and all this stuff. And when it gets heated, we see zero people attacking each other about the business, which in real life would absolutely happen. So why are they just sticking to this one storyline of the wedding? And that to me was inauthentic. It was almost like they didn't want to really shoot, but in order to get the production what they needed, they fought about this versus really seeing an organic argument occur. Do you know what I'm saying? It felt really produced to me.
I'm coming to you because some of these mistakes will happen.
I'm not being judgmental. I think I was more hurt.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of hurt going around. Even with you're hurt. 100%. Just understand that she's hurt too. And I'm marrying her in 31 days. And I want peace.
But that's who's causing it all.
We went backwards.
Like, my brother needs to get therapy because he keeps blaming me for everything.
No,
It's
he's
not
not
just
blaming.
me. She has daddy issues. She needs to go get help. What?
Okay, so then Jackie flips out and don't bring up Melissa's daddy issues. I didn't totally agree with this because the truth of the matter is that Melissa has many times mentioned her daddy issues, which Teresa brings up too. And so I thought it was fair enough that Teresa calls that out at this moment. But I didn't think Teresa needed to flip out like she did just to say it, but it was good TV.
First of all, you're not in the right frame of mind.
Don't you dare.
You're arguing over that.
Don't you guys dare fight. Hold this. When you hold this, you talk.
No.
No, because you're going to jump on each other.
That's what the therapist said.
So make
That's
sure
what the therapist said. Like, Joe, if you would have called me and told me to invite Donna Marco, I would have invited her right away. Why didn't you do that? Like, instead of making a big deal and telling all these strangers all this.
Like, why is my husband over there talking? Look, I don't understand with Teresa and Louis.
You think I want to hear stuff from all these people? No. If you got something to say to me, you tell me. I would have did it in a heartbeat.
Really?
Yes. Why didn't you do that?
But before all this went crazy, when you decided that you didn't want to put her in the wedding, I called Louis and I called Gia and I said, tell my sister, don't do this with Melissa. The bridesmaid thing. And what did you do? Nothing. And I'm so mad at you.
I'm so mad. Because
I'm upset too.
Okay, so Teresa's not owning that she really secretly wanted to punish Joe and Melissa. And Joe is not being honest that at this point, the only reason he likes his sister is for the TV show. And let's just say what it is. The fans are burnt out on the conversation because they don't really care, because it's pretty apparent that they have no desire to actually resolve the matter and be a family. So we're all losing interest at this point. Okay, so now listen to Teresa getting ready to throw the gauntlet down and say that she knows Melissa's cheating, but she backs off. She has it, she's ready, but she holds it for some reason. Listen.
No,
That's not true, Joey.
I'm happy. I've been happy for a very long time.
I don't think so.
You know?
No, because if you were happy, you would want to be a beautiful family.
We didn't keep you out of the family. You kept us out of the family. This is your blood.
I did.
And Jennifer made fun of him and you chimed
No.
in. For your behavior that night was
I'm a bitch now.
Bitch boy, sorry, you are. You chimed in. What are you talking about?
You're embarrassing. She called you
I'm gonna
bitch
be
boy,
wrong.
but Joe, you're playing it real well.
Shut up. I met you in once and you me.
Come on, man.
Shut the up.
But we're so unhappy. We're gonna go get therapy. Go get therapy. You should, because then maybe we could be a happy family.
We became the biggest disappointment in life.
Then the producers play Jennifer Aiden standing up for Teresa and saying that Melissa doubles down on making Teresa look bad on camera, basically. But I mean, I'm not so sure that's true. I'm still in the middle on this. I mean, as a viewer, I'm watching it and I'm like, well, Teresa kind of brings it on herself. But at the same time, I don't think Melissa's innocent on all this. I see her as pretty manipulative. So I'm like, on both of them, I'm starting not to care about either of them because I'm not really rooting for either of them at this point. I've mentioned this conundrum I have several times, which is like, I don't really want either of them to win the argument, so I just sit there. This is probably the most telling soundbite I'm going to play you today on this episode. I, on purpose, did this YouTube like this with soundbites because the devil's in the detail always. Listen to this. Listen to what Louis says to Joe when Joe starts to puff up like he wants to get in a fight with Louis physically.
Joe, did you leave?
Best friend.
He's enjoying this now.
I know.
He's enjoying this now. You don't enjoy this.
Wait, did Margaret cause our whole family problem?
No.
She did.
Was it Margaret?
She did.
Was it Margaret? Want to dance?
Get off
With
the
you,
Hey, punch him in the face. Joe, stop, please. You're
Come
being
on,
bit smart because I got nothing to lose. You understand me? Stop, please, stop. What? Stop.
I get nothing to lose. Huh, that's odd. Seems like he has a lot to lose from what he's making us believe. But maybe all is not what it seems. Smoke and mirrors.
What? Stop. Stop. It's not worth it. Come on, let's go. Move your car. I'll hold for you. No problem. Come on, let's go.
It wasn't me. Listen to me. It's Melissa said to you, talk about my sister-in-law and my future brother-in-law one more time. What would you have done? Teresa, that's not the way Melissa speaks. That's the way you speak.
She's just trying to tell you how she felt. She could be wrong.
Yeah, but she'll sit there the whole time and tell us that we're the ones that did everything wrong.
For me, I feel like it's looking for an excuse. There's always an excuse why Melissa's not good enough.
She has two sisters. He only has me. She should want to make it better. She does. No, she doesn't. And trust me, they're not happy because if Melissa was a good woman, she would make it better with my brother and I.
You guys are going to play ping pong with bullshit.
Because the things that she has done and said, I have not said. Half of them, Louis. Just stop.
I don't want to hear this anymore because you also contributed, right? And you started it off this way. So stop pointing your fingers. Stop preaching to me. Like, I'm good.
I don't want this carrying on. I'm 28 days from getting married, and I love you guys. I don't want you part of our lives.
Is this the life you want, that we never talk to each other, our kids don't see each other, everyone's going to get old, our memories are going to just be memories?
You can't get back yesterday. And I, you know, unfortunately, I have this feeling this family going to learn it the hard way.
I'm getting married in 4 weeks. And if he wants to be a part of it, he can be a part of it. If he doesn't want to be a part of it, God bless him.
Well, the fans got really upset that Melissa Gorga, I guess, tried to mitigate the gossip being spread about her this week. And she had sent out some cease and desist saying that things being said weren't true. These were related to her niece borrowing $25,000 from Louis Verwellis and, you know, getting in, you know, not paying him back or something for the hair dry blow bar. And then the other cease and desist she sent out was based on Housewife Historian putting out that she found clothing that is available at Envy for like, I don't know, let's just say $200. And you can get the exact same outfit as a knockoff for way, way cheaper. And so Melissa felt that people saying that she was selling that same knockoff for a higher amount was unfair. Now, we know that Melissa Gorga only owns a small percentage of the store of Envy. She actually is just really a promotional partner to the store. The store is run by other people. But needless to say, a cease and desist went out. And it went to Housewife Historian, and it went to Trey Fab 2022 and some others. And so then a group of people got together upset and started this change.org, which is really funny. And basically it says Melissa Gorga to be removed from the Real Housewives of New Jersey. It's a petition to NBC Bravo. It has, as of this video, 1,177 signatures, required of 1,500. So I don't think this petition is going to really convince Bravo of everything. There are several hundreds of thousands of people, but I'm sure this upset Melissa Gorga. And so in a way, it was a little bit of retribution for the cease and desists. To be fair, the influencers told the story with the information that they had available to them. You know, I saw it, it looked like the exact same outfit they were selling on Envy on Amazon for super cheap. However, again, the devil's in the detail, and potentially one was like a high-end fabric and stuff that looked exactly the same as the Amazon one, but like was a different fabric, and it was indeed a knockoff. You know, I just want to say, but nobody's really wrong here. Melissa could have been accurate in what she said, that these, you know, it's not the same thing really. And the influencers were right maybe too. Based on the basic information available, it did look like the same clothing was available for very cheap in another location. It happens. It happens. Anyway, that's that. But the fans don't like when the superstars with a huge platform bully the influencers, which, let's be honest, the reason the show has the cult-like phenomena that it isn't the regular Joe watching it on TV. It's the fans that are hardcore about this and integrate the show into their content all the time, which makes the shows popular and talked about. Let me tell you, without these influencers, there is no Bravo, advertisers. Advertisers are trying to speak to them. Not a lot happening really around New Jersey this week with the gossip pool at the moment, but I am working on getting some good stuff for next week. Outside of these business deals where Louis Ruelas allegedly gave money and didn't get paid back, and rifts occurred, and clothing being sold at Envy for really high numbers, and, you know, it actually being not a lot of money if you got it somewhere else. There really wasn't that much happening. But hopefully that'll change next week. I would love to find out what's going on with Danielle Cabral's brother. So we'll see soon. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Like, subscribe, and hit the notification button. Send me gossip on my Instagram, you guys. And oh my God, I haven't promoted the hoodies in a while, or t-shirts. Let me just quickly remind you of
we
that.
have the Nosy See You Next Tuesday shirt, which was inspired by PK Kemsley coming for me for a few weeks in a row to get some sort of a press feud going. Then we have my season 3, I Drink a Lot train wreck scene on one t-shirt that also comes in a hoodie. Then we have, of course, the Did You Know 25,000 nostalgia shout out in both a hoodie and a t-shirt. And then my slogan for 2023, which is write your own happy ending, because boy, am I trying to. So if you're doing that too, you may want that hoodie or t-shirt for inspiration when you forget that you are in control and can write your own chapter. All right, loves, that's it. Mwah.